Hello and welcome to We Just Quote in the podcast, but we do more than just quote. This is We Just Quote Wednesday, and today I'll be talking about Nico Omilana's comeback to the sidemen, the Euros coming back and bouncing back, and this week's quote of the week, which will be revealed in the podcast. Stay at the end to get a clue about next week's podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when a new podcast comes out. And tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Now let's get into it. Nico Omilana's comeback to the sidemen. Now, when I say this, what I mean is, well, if you listen to last week's We Just Quote Wednesday podcast, I spoke about this sidemen beef. And if you can see me right now, I've got quotation marks. Essentially, it was about, I think 3 weeks ago now, Sidemen Sunday, Extreme Cook-Off, and Nico and Cal were receiving some sort of hate. And I wasn't expecting to see Nico back, on a Sidemen video so soon. Last week, 2 weeks ago, after the Extreme Cook-Off one, they did a Gogglebox video. And then last week they did a Wheel video. It was called the Wheel Simon Edition, which is a game show. And Nico Milano was there. And I was pleasantly surprised to see him because he did receive hate the last time he was here. And I thought it was great. Clearly it didn't get to him. Clearly the boys still wanted him to be in it. And essentially he did bounce back. And he's doing what he's doing. He's doing what he loves. He loves making content. He's a YouTuber at the end of the day. And despite the hate, he's back and he was working with them. And it was just great to see in the video. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. He wasn't in the video that much because the way the game show worked, it was like a wheel that went round in a circle, then randomly stopped. And then they stopped on you, you'd come up and have to answer some questions and have the potential to win money. If you got a question wrong or lost, you'd have to go back down. But he was there at the beginning for a bit. And it was just great to see. It kind of acted like a phoenix and rose from the ashes. He rised up. He rose up. Yeah. There's a song by Andrew Day called I Rise Up, or it's called Rise Up. And it goes, I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. Something like that. So it goes, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And it's this idea of just rising up and bouncing back. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely incredible. I think it's great that he bounced back and came back. Not like that he was away anyway, but it was just great to see him. And I think in our lives, we have to do the same. When the whole world is against you, back yourself and just do you. I feel like I think the battle is already won when you believe in yourself. You can do anything as long as you believe in yourself, because the whole world can believe in you. But if you don't believe in you, that means nothing. And you just got to back yourself. When you love something so much, it doesn't matter if people hate on you for loving that thing so much. You should carry on. And obviously it's hard when there's society telling you shouldn't do this thing or you should do that thing. Well, stuff it. Stuff society and do you. Do you and be you. And do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. And yeah, I saw him and was like, it was just great. It was just great to see. Now, on to the Euros. I know the Euros started, how many weeks now ago? And I know a lot of my friends are watching the Euros actively every single day. And I am not a football fan, not at all. Is it coming home? It is coming home. Isn't it coming home? And I'm not a football fan whatsoever, so I haven't not seen a single Euro game this year. But obviously I've seen results and I've seen it all over the media. Because it's a big thing. I just not into football like that. Yeah, so I'm not really into football like that, so I haven't seen any of the matches. But I'm potentially planning to watch the final, maybe. Definitely, if it goes to penalties, I'm definitely watching the penalties, if anything, because for me, the most exciting part of football, for me, from a person who is not a huge fan of football, is the penalties, because it is very exciting for me. I I like it because it's intense, there's tension, and it's a bit drama essentially. So I find the penalties really entertaining to watch. But nothing against all you football fans out there. You keep on doing you and loving what you love to watch and supporting your team. But I like this idea of togetherness and how people are back in their country. Even like if you're not from that country, like you don't have to be English to support England, or Romanian to support Romania, or French to support France, and etc. 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 But I like that how football seems to bring everyone together, a lot of people together anyway. I've seen a lot of YouTubers that I watch, like Chunks, Nico Milanos, Sidemen, the Sidemen, Calix, Cal Freezy, stuff like that, which all come together and watch football with all their friends and watch the Euros. And it's great. I like this sense of togetherness. I don't know if you've ever heard the quote, there is strength in numbers, something like that. Or in the Bible, Jesus said, when two or more are gathered in my name, I am amongst them. Not to say that if there's one person on their own, he isn't with them, but it's to say that like that is strength where there's more than one person together, It's like, can one person really bring that change? It's harder, but when you've got a bunch of people backing them, it's so much easier. Let's look at civil rights, for example. Martin Luther King Jr. on his own couldn't, I don't know, on his own, I don't think he would have been very powerful, but had a lot of people who were on his side supporting him. And even if you take very inspirational individual people who kind of changed history, this is just looking at like Black lives here. So we've got Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks. Collectively, those individuals have brought about change. We can look at it as like Gandhi, for example, his like non-violent movements and stuff like that. It was him, but he had a lot of people behind him as well. If we look at a football team, relating it to the Euros, it's you got the striker, you got the defender, you've got the goalie, but his whole team working together. There is strength in numbers, and when people really come together for a cause, like a protests, when people are coming together for change, it's great. Or look at COVID-19. So many people, so many different countries have come together to help one another and be there for one another. And amazing, beautiful things can come about when people come together. I'm a huge fan of High School Musical. I absolutely love all the 3 films. If you haven't seen it, you are living under a rock and you are missing out. But classic High School Musical saying, we're all in this together, because we all are. And when we all stick together and people work together, amazing, beautiful things can happen. And yeah, I just love how the Euros have kind of brought a lot of people together and got them celebrating and cheering for their team. Just about coming together. I think it's a beautiful thing to come together. And something else I want to talk about togetherness is the people around you and how you can be strong and together with the people around you. I've said this before, Ram's family tree. Be careful who your company is, because your company shows who you are. I've said this before, NF. Surround yourself by people who challenge how you think, not the ones that nod their heads and act like they agree. That kind of thing about being careful who your company is, your inner circle. Any Riverdale fans out there? A lot of my friends think Riverdale is trash, unfortunately. But bear in mind that all I've seen is season 1 and 2. I haven't seen 3 to 5 yet. I saw season 1 and 2 like a 1 run through. I'm currently on my second run through season 1 and 2. So I've finished season 1. I'm on season 2, episode 5. And then I'm going to watch seasons 3 to 5, and then make my judgments, because from what I've heard, it goes downhill from there. Any hardcore Riverdale fans, I'm not here to offend. I haven't seen it yet, like season 3 to 5, so I can't make my own opinion yet. And I'm trying not to get influenced by everyone around me saying it's trash. Either way, in the early seasons like 1 and 2, Veronica Lodge, talks about her inner circle a lot, inner circle only. And I want to talk about this inner circle. And I've spoken about it before, a lot about company, about being around positive people, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, be with people who will lift you up, people who will tell you when you know what you're doing is stupid and what you're doing is wrong. Surround yourself by people, women, men, not people who will just nod their heads and say yes to you, but will challenge what you say. Yeah, surround yourself around those kinds of people. And when you've got your circle doesn't need to be big, but when you've got a nice little inner circle, essentially, and you all come together and stick together and support each other, it's just a powerful thing. There really is power in numbers. That's why, voting, when there's voting and stuff, why is that the most votes win? It's a democracy. There's power in numbers. Majority of people have said this. When it's protests, the more people, essentially, the stronger it is. When it's a crowd, in a football match or any sort of sporting event, the bigger the crowd, just creates and amplifies the atmosphere. If there was only one person in the stands compared to 1,000, you already know when there's 1,000 people, the energy is going to be super hyped, and it's going to be great. But yeah, I just love how the Euros is bringing a lot of people together, and they're celebrating their countries and stuff like that. But what I want to say, essentially, at the core of this message, is about sticking together and, looking after one another and being part of this one team. According to my sources, I don't know if it's right, but the quote about there is power in numbers was Charles Dickens. I don't actually believe... I don't know, just because I don't believe he actually meant it in numbers of people, and it was more of a mathematical thing. But essentially, the more people, the better. And it doesn't have to be a big, massive crowd, but there is power and strength in unity and staying together and all coming together. I feel like I'm waffling now. I'm going around in circles. I'm repeating myself, but I will read you some quotes about teamwork and togetherness and collaboration, because we don't need to do everything alone. We are all fighting private battles, but know that together we are stronger. That's what I'm saying. And I feel with the Euros, because obviously it's but why are you talking about the Euros? But with the Euros, it's I've seen that a lot of people have come together to celebrate, rejoice, to cheer for their teams. Anyway, Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Henry Ford said, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is process, working together is success. Paul Solzar said, collaboration allows us to know more than we are capable of knowing by ourselves. We're all in this together. We are all in this together. Well, it's a new week, so it's a new quote of the week. And this week's quote of the week I heard from watching a KSI video, and it's a video about his brother. If you know the whole TikTok versus YouTube fight, KSI's brother is Deji, and he lost against Vinny Hacker, and he made a video kind of not calling him out, but saying, this is the only way I'm going to get through to you. This is what you need to hear. No one else can truly say it and get away with it without making it sound like hate, because it is his brother. And he just laid it out straight and said a lot of stuff to him. And Oh, hold on, I believe it was that video. I may have got this wrong now. It may have not been that video. If it's not that video, I apologize. But what KSI said was, which is this week's quote of the week, never get too comfortable. And when I saw this video, whatever video it was, and JJ was talking, JJ aka KSI, I mean, some people argue he's two different people, but we're not getting into that. Never get too comfortable. Because when you get too comfortable, that's when you're most likely to fall. That's when you're most likely to stumble. That's when anybody and somebody can try and take you down. Don't get too comfortable. Always try and better yourself and better yourself. You get 100%, okay, great. But now you've got to get 100% next time. Staying at the top is one thing. That's hard. It's even harder staying there. You get 99.9%. You've lost a couple, you haven't got 100. Work to get 100. Don't get too comfortable. Because when you're too comfortable and you're sitting happily at the front, that's at the top, that's when somebody will just come and pull you down. Constantly got to keep on working hard. Remember, Tim or Tom, I should know this is my favourite quote. Yeah, it's Tim. It's not Tom, it's Tim. Tim, not he said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That is my favourite quote, which I spoke about in one of my earlier WeJustQuote Wednesday podcasts. After this, you should go check some of the other ones out. There'll be links in the descriptions to different WeJustQuote Wednesday podcasts that you can check out. But essentially, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and you got to keep on working hard. Don't get too comfortable. Don't rest on your morals, because when you get too comfortable, when you think you've got nowhere else to go, that's when somebody will come in and overtake you. You're running your how many meter run, sprint, I don't know what you're doing, but there's 8 of you and you're in first place and you start slowing down, you start getting too comfortable. That's when the person in second place overtakes you and now you're second place and they're first. When you are at the top of the class, the top of your game, top of the leaderboard, and then somebody just overtakes you because you got too comfortable and stopped working hard. It's a continuous thing. Never get too comfortable, because that is when somebody will just come and take it from you. You know what I mean? And he was talking about that and how he never wants to get too comfortable. He's always bettering himself. And that when he gets married and has kids and stuff, maybe then you'll start getting comfortable. But he is always pushing himself and bettering himself. And you should do too. Keep on pushing yourself and not pushing yourself so hard that you end up burning out. And I'm telling you now, burning out is the worst thing ever. It's happened to me. But you can't settle. Don't settle. Don't get too comfortable. Keep on bettering yourself and pushing yourself and trying to be the best you. Just try and be the best you, Don't get too comfortable. It's not over until I say it is. Oh, wow, hold on. This quote I just found by Sarah Shepherd says, "Don't get too comfortable. It's not over until I say it is A." And any of my Pretty Little Liar fans out there, I know it came out years ago, but I'm a new fan, so I'm on season 3. I've started watching it a couple months ago. I'm absolutely loving it so far. But A is this anonymous person who keeps terrorizing these 4 main girl characters. And I don't know if that's a quote from it, because I've just typed in quotes about getting comfortable and this comes up. So let me make sure that it is or isn't from Pretty Little Liars. Oh my gosh, it is. It is a Pretty Little Liars quote. Anyway, yeah, I'm just reading out some quotes about not getting too comfortable, because at the end of the day, you don't want to get too comfortable and you don't want to settle and be overtaken. So yeah, don't get too comfortable. I'm not going to read the second part because that relates to the series. Here's another quote. I don't know who it's by, but it says, "Never get too comfortable. There's always room for improvement or replacement," which is very, very, very true. Any jazz fans out there would know Abby Lee Miller would always say, "Everyone's replaceable." but you never want to get too comfortable anyway. You always want to improve, and there always is room to improve. And somebody, I don't know what the word is, but if you would always look for something to improve. And I believe that we are our harshest critics. Like, I will do something and somebody will always congratulate me, and you can get 100%, but there is always something that I see that I could improve, even if someone else doesn't see. And even if you get 100%, there's always something you can do to improve. Maybe there is an efficient way of doing it. I know that I would do a lot of tests, chemistry tests, and I would get like really high marks, get really good grades. But I could have said all that in less words, stuff like that. And then that time could be used to read over, something like that. So you can still get 100%, but there's always room to improve. Never get too comfortable. Thank you for listening. This has been We Just Quote Wednesday. Make sure you give a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and do all that good stuff. Look out for many podcasts in between We Just Quote Wednesdays. Also check out We Just Quote Wednesday Shorts, a new thing to this channel. Stay tuned for next week's We Just Quote Wednesday podcast. If you have any quotes, questions, or topic ideas, email them to wejustquoting@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening, and bye-bye for now. It's so easy to start, but to finish is the real challenge.